So, what's going on, guys? This is Brian Pickwitz here at BP Fitness, and I have a really important message for you guys today. It's about sodium. And so this is one of the things that I see on everyone's Facebook feed, and quite frankly, it really irritates me. It's something that I think that we have so many preconceived notions that aren't true about its effect on our ability to lose weight and really reach our fitness goals. That's why I wanted to make this video, especially when it comes to dieting. So one of the questions I get from all my clients are, at first when they're getting on their program is, well, am I allowed to use this or that because it has a lot of sodium in it, and sodium is supposed to be bad for weight loss. And the truth is, guys, is that sodium is not going to have an effect on your overall ability to reach your weight loss goal. Just not. It's very short term is what we're looking at. But in order to get into the actual possibility of it affecting you, I want to break down some different, definitions as to what we're trying to talk about here. So you and I are on the same page. And if you're watching this, we can actually build something that's going to make it so you get something of value from this. So when we're talking about weight loss, I think it's more important, and I think that you'll agree, that we're talking about something as far as it relates to your body composition. So losing body fat and building muscle is what most people want. They want to have a toned look. They want to have a decent looking physique. And there's also the health benefits of trying to build muscle. So when we're trying to look at what we're trying to accomplish here, I think that that's where we're going to put our definition as far as weight loss is concerned. Now, weight loss in and of itself is just simply a number on a scale. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're reaching your goals. It doesn't mean that you're changing your body composition. And I think that that's where most people don't see the correlation to their success and what their diet is like. Now, I'm not saying you should go and start to pound on the sodium and just eat like a madman. And I think that we're going to get into those discussions on what that can do to your health too. But what I want to define is essentially what we're looking at as far as our goals. Because if you have an actual goal that you're reaching for, other than just losing weight for the sake of losing weight, you're going to see that this is a lifestyle change that you can add that's going to make it so you enjoy your diet more thoroughly than what you might right now. And so when we talk about short-term weight loss, this is something that I think that I see a lot when I talk to people. There's a joke that I'll tell people, and if someone comes to me and they say, "Oh, I want to lose 10 pounds, Brian," and I'll say, "Okay, that's fantastic. Why do you want to lose 10 pounds?" They'd be like, "Well, because I want to lose 10 pounds. It's like what my goal is, just to lose 10 pounds. And I kind of tell them, well, that's kind of not the right reason to be doing this. And that's not saying that they can't work on it and they can't achieve that goal and it won't make them feel fulfilled. But for me, I'm more interested in getting people the reasons why they want to succeed. So if you want to lose 25 pounds so you have a certain look and you have a certain lifestyle change and you're feeling healthy and you're feeling good about yourself, then the short-term weight and water retention gains of sodium is what we want to talk about, because that's what happens. So when you talk about sodium, your body needs sodium for certain things, and one of the things is fluid regulation. And so it balances out, what your body's taking in for liquids and what it's also expelling. And so if you look at it as, let's say your body's getting a baseline of sodium that's right here. And then you have a vastly high day where you go up in sodium and that causes you to gain weight. Now that might be the case that you're holding on to a little bit more water. You might gain anywhere between 1 to 2 pounds. But the truth is it's usually with what we're eating. And so I want you to focus on that. That's really where true weight gain is going to happen. And what I mean by weight gain is gaining fat. And so typically what we associate with sodium is not just the sodium intake, but the food. Because most things that are high in sodium are typically deep fried, like potato chips or French fries, or even a lot of the food that we enjoy that we don't think is as, I guess for lack of a better term, posterized as, high in sodium. So like a lot of sweets have a lot of sodium in them because they make it so it tastes better. And so there's not a direct correlation with the sodium you're eating and the weight you're gaining. It's more so the actual products that you're ingesting when you're doing it. But we're going to get to the other parts of this too. So like I said, obviously there is a source of water retention when you take in more sodium. But for the most part, if you're taking in sodium at a certain level and your body's consistently getting that sodium and you're training and you're dieting in the right way, your body's going to see that and begin to process it normally. So it's not that sodium is going to cause you to gain weight. It's that spikes in different variables will cause a short-term gain. But what I want you to focus on is what I was talking about earlier, the actual goal of what you're trying to do. So when you talk about weight loss, when you talk about trying to reduce your body fat, what it really comes down to is being at a calorie deficit and reaching the right macronutrients for your goals. So if you're trying to be at a ketogenic diet, you want to have your macros at a certain goal. If you're trying to just make this a lifestyle, I think that you can have more flexibility in there. But what it also comes down to is the consistency. So for instance, if you want to talk about, maybe you gain a little bit of weight or gain a little bit of water retention and water weight because you had a spike in sodium. That can be true. But at the same time, it could be the same case if you drank more water that day. And if you decided to eat more food that day. Or maybe you didn't sleep as well. And so your body didn't have as much time to regulate your actual hormones or to balance out what you usually been burning at night. Or there's a million different things that could cause that to happen. And it's not just sodium. And so what I want to talk to you about is what we're trying to accomplish. So sodium is it's actually the primary essential, I guess for lack of a better term, nutrient that your body needs in order to make your muscles contract. So if you are building muscle and you're reducing your sodium intake, it's going to be really hard for your body to actually perform well in the gym. It's going to be really difficult for you to even if you're just doing cardio, your body still needs that sodium in order to restore itself, in order to have the electrolytes to make it so your body can keep pumping. A lot of times when we reduce our sodium, you might experience cramps, you might experience things like that. So I think that a lot of times these are things that people just put a blanket statement on, like, oh, sodium's going to cause you to gain weight. And it's just simply not true. It's just simply not true. And I think at the base level, it's people who are just trying to sell you the quick fix product. Like, oh, well, if you do this cleanse and you cut out your sodium, you might lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. And you'll feel really good for that 2 weeks. But is that a lifestyle change? Is that really bringing you where you want to be? And is it something that's going to make it so you reach the lean physique that you're shooting for? And I think that that's what I'm trying to provide anyone who is watching this video, anyone who's a client, or anyone who's really trying to get somewhere with this all. And so the reason why I have these things set up near me is to give you some examples. And like I said, so at the beginning of the video, I talked about, obviously we want to get into the health side effects of sodium. Now, long-term use of high sodium dosages is going to result in higher blood pressure. It's going to ultimately affect your cardiovascular health. So I'm not saying that you should keep your sodium really high. I think that that's probably over-presumptuous and not an intelligent thing to do. But I'm saying that adding some things that make it so you enjoy your food more is not going to harm you. And if anything, it's going to make it so you can succeed in the long term, because if you like the food that you're eating, you're going to stick with the diet. If you don't like the food you're eating, if you find that you're, disgusted by the end of the day because you're like, oh, I can't believe I have to eat this all again, you're going to be really upset. And so my job is to make this so you become someone who is not only knowledgeable in this, but you feel like you can make this a lifestyle change. So things that that you wouldn't think, but people would talk to me about cutting is like a condiment. Like, obviously I'm going to use mustard because it's the low calorie. It's virtually 5 calories or 0 calories in all mustard. This still has 60 milligrams of sodium, which isn't a terrible amount, but when you add it all up how much you might be using, it would be a lot. Or hot sauce, 190 milligrams of sodium. And so these are things that I think most people would be like, well, I can't eat that because it's going to cause me to gain weight. And the truth is it's not going to. So these are some different options that you have to add to your food that are essentially low calorie, that will make it so you can enjoy your food. Now, one of the things I'll have my clients do is I'll have them use these. And so these are my personal favorites. You have Grill Mates. These are marinades. So when you're talking about weight loss, it really, like I said, it comes down to what your macros are at and where your calories are at. But these things are fantastic because they are marinades that essentially you would mix with oils and you would mix with different things, but they are just the seasoning by themselves. So like I have tomato, garlic, basil here. Absolutely incredible. I love putting on my chicken or sometimes on my eggs or something like that. This one does have a lot of sodium in it, but if you were to just sprinkle on a little bit as you're prepping your food, you could use this whole packet, and the whole packet is roughly, to calculate it off the top of my head, is about a day's worth of the total sodium you're supposed to get. Now we're talking about breaking this off into about 3 days worth of chicken. So that balance isn't going to have an effect on your overall success. And so we have things like garlic, salt. Being sparing with these things, or Montreal steak seasoning, is not going to have an effect on your actual weight loss as your body processes and breaks down fat, and it's going to make it so you can succeed long term. Now, maybe you're watching this video and you're like, that sounds great, Brian, and maybe you're not sold. And if you aren't, you can do your own research, or you can just, maybe you can comment below, and if you have something better to say, then maybe we can have a debate about this that's healthy. But let's say that you're saying, well, I have really high blood pressure and I don't know what to do. And I think that's a real thing that people might have to face to reduce their sodium intake, or maybe had a genetic predisposition to heart disease or something like that, and you have to be careful. Now, I think that's something that's of value that you have to check out. These are what I would do. Now, so onion powder, you can get garlic powder, anything like that is going to add a tremendous amount of flavor to your diet. I think that that's something that I like to use on my chicken, on any of my meat, steak, anything like that, or even eggs sometimes in the morning. That's a good balance for you. Or you can always look at Mrs. Dash. So Mrs. Dash is a fantastic option, and what they do is they use potassium instead of sodium. So that still gives you that flavor, and it makes it so you can have food that you actually still like, that balances out what you'd be getting for sodium. Now, this one is Italian medley. This one's fantastic, and I'm a personal fan of the table blend. So you can check those out, and there's different options for you too. Or you can just go with wholesome, like this is whole oregano. There's always seasonings you can add to your diet that make it so you like the food you're eating. Now, when you're watching this right now, the goal of this video is not to make it so that you have to debate this. If you want to engage in a conversation, I'd love to, and so please leave your comments below. But what I want to give you is just the idea that certain things that you're being sold, as far as doing a cleanse or sticking away from sodium or not eating late at night, are really just not the answer for your success. They're just simply not. What it comes down to is having a plan in place, having a goal that you're shooting for, and actually striving to reach those goals. I think for me, obviously for those of you who are watching this, I'm a fitness coach for over 200 clients, or I've had over 200 clients in the last 2 years. But I've built this business around helping people reach their goals in the real sense of making this a lifestyle change. And now this isn't just me promoting my company. This is me promoting what I believe is of value to you. So if you're watching this, and whether you want to work with someone and getting better, or you're just interested in maybe taking small steps to make yourself better, I think that you really have to look at the source of your material. So I really get frustrated, and I think that this video is important for me to make, because there's so many people who just want to say, well, it's the sodium in this bag of pretzels that's making it so I'm gaining weight, rather than saying, one serving of these pretzels has 45 grams of carbs, and it also has 3 grams of fat, and there's 5 servings in a bag, and I just ate a whole bag. You know what I'm saying? And so those are the things that I want you to check out when you're reaching for your goals. Don't just take someone's word because they're selling a product on your social media feed. Actually ask the questions that you think are going to benefit you, and try to find what you're trying to strive for and how to get there. So this is my video today. I hope it helps you. Leave me a comment if you agree with this, what things that you like to put on your food. I think that if we can have a discussion about what makes it so we can kind of make our diets fun and make it so it's enjoyable, I think it's only going to help this process. Or leave a comment as to what your goals are and how we can get you there. And above all else, I hope that this helped you out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.